Mitchell and Eric had been best friends since they were kids. They met on the first day of elementary school when both of them were nervous and looking for a friendly face. From that day on, they stuck together like brothers. Although they were different in many ways, their bond grew stronger every year. Mitchell was calm and thoughtful, while Eric was full of energy and always jumping into new adventures without much thought. Their friendship was like a promise that could never be broken. As they grew older, their lives began to take different directions. Mitchell loved reading, studying, and was focused on his dreams of becoming a doctor. Eric, on the other hand, enjoyed exploring, taking risks, and had a passion for photography. He didn't have a solid plan for his future, but he was happy with that. Despite the differences, they supported each other's dreams. For Mitchell, Eric's carefree attitude reminded him to enjoy life, and for Eric, Mitchell's dedication encouraged him to think about his future. One winter evening, Mitchell and Eric were sitting in their favorite spot by the lake, watching the sunset. The sky was a beautiful mix of orange and pink, and the cold air made everything feel quiet and calm. Eric looked at Mitchell and said, "Do you ever wonder what life would be like if we weren't friends?" Mitchell laughed, shaking his head. "No, I can't imagine it. You're like family to me." Eric nodded, but a shadow crossed his face. "It scares me sometimes, thinking that life could pull us apart. I don't think I'd be the same without you." Mitchell reached over, patting his friend on the back. "Hey, we'll always have each other, no matter what happens. That's what unconditional love is, right? It doesn't change, no matter how far we go." Eric smiled, comforted by Mitchell's words. They sat in silence for a while, letting the peace of the evening fill them. The years passed quickly. Mitchell went to medical school, which took him to another city. They still talked often, but things were different. Eric traveled around, taking photos and exploring the world, while Mitchell spent most of his days studying, with little time for anything else. They missed each other, but they understood that each of them was following their own path. One day, Mitchell received a call from Eric, who sounded unusually quiet. "Mitchell," Eric began, his voice heavy, "I need to tell you something. I've been diagnosed with a heart condition. It's serious." Mitchell's heart sank. "What? When did this happen?" "Recently," Eric replied. "The doctors say I'll need surgery, but even with it, there's no guarantee. I just wanted you to know." Mitchell felt a surge of emotions, fear, sadness, and worry for his friend. He couldn't imagine a world without Eric. Without hesitating, he told Eric he'd be there for him, no matter what. Mitchell took some time off from his studies and went back to his hometown to be with Eric. Seeing him in the hospital was difficult. Eric looked thinner, weaker, but his smile was still there, bright and warm. "Look who's here," Eric said, his eyes lighting up as Mitchell walked into the room. "Didn't think I'd get you out of your books, huh?" Mitchell chuckled, trying to hide his sadness. "Nothing can keep me away, you know that." They spent hours talking, laughing, and remembering their adventures. In those moments, Mitchell realized just how much Eric meant to him. He wasn't just a friend, he was a part of his soul. His love for Eric wasn't just about friendship, it was deeper, a love that didn't have conditions or limits. It was the kind of love that stayed, even when things got hard. Eric went through surgery, and it was a challenging time. There were days when he felt too weak to even smile, but Mitchell was always there, holding his hand, encouraging him, reminding him of their old memories and dreams. Mitchell gave everything he had to make sure Eric felt loved and supported. He knew that, whatever happened, he had to be there for his friend. Months passed, and Eric started to recover slowly. His heart was still fragile, but he was stronger than before. Mitchell stayed by his side, helping him get back on his feet, taking him for small walks, and even bringing him his camera so he could take pictures from his hospital bed. One evening, as they watched the sunset from Eric's hospital room, Eric looked at Mitchell with tears in his eyes. "I don't think I'd have made it without you, Mitch. You saved my life, not just with your medical knowledge but with your love." Mitchell squeezed Eric's hand, his own eyes filling with tears. "I didn't do it because I had to, Eric. I did it because I love you. That's what unconditional love is, right? It's being there, even when things get hard." Eric nodded, understanding now what Mitchell had meant all those years ago by the lake. It wasn't just about being there during the happy times. It was about staying, even when everything felt dark and uncertain. When Eric was finally discharged from the hospital, they returned to their favorite spot by the lake. The sunset was beautiful, just like that winter evening when they'd talked about their future. Eric looked at Mitchell and said, "I don't know what the future holds, Mitch. My heart might always be weak, but I know one thing for sure, I want to live every moment, to love deeply, and to be there for you, just like you were there for me. Mitchell nodded, a gentle smile on his face. That's all that matters, Eric. As long as we're here for each other, nothing else matters. They sat by the lake, in comfortable silence, letting the beauty of the sunset wrap around them. They both knew that life could be unpredictable, but their love was something they could always count on. It was a love without conditions, a love that didn't need promises or explanations. It was just there, constant and unbreakable, like the bond they had shared since childhood. And so, Mitchell and Eric continued their journey, side by side, living each day with love, gratitude, and the understanding that true love, unconditional love, was the greatest gift they could ever share.